Hi class, my name is Iman Kerchigani and I decided to study badminton for my ethnography, and this is a sport that's prominent in Southeast Asian culture and definitely in other parts of the world, but especially so here. So as we begin, some of the virtues that I gathered in my cultural experience included sportsmanship, unity, fellowship, decorum, camaraderie, and esprit de corps. And these things are basically promoting mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together, as well as overall companionship, uh, behavior in keeping with good taste, and having a sense of propriety. So, really, it's a gentleman's sport if there ever was one, and a lady sport for sure. Um, as we move on into the next slide, we see that really beautiful moments such as this can be captured where you have competitors caring for the well-being of each other. Here we see a player concerned about his opponent's arm. It seems he seems to have sustained an injury, and so the attitude that they display is very important, not just the result. So essentially, when you get to the higher levels, there are opponents, but a majority of the time, as it states here in the slide, that there are no real opponents, only participants, and this is a very nice and recreational perspective and example of how the sport should be played. The center that I decided to go and visit was a local one here in Milpitas named the Bay Badminton Center. I didn't uh, I didn't have a playing experience prior to this, but I had played tennis, and so I was actually quite eager to explore this sport that I had, figured to be similar. And fortunately, the staff and everyone there was so inviting and kind and warm that they really just reinforced the virtues and principles that are associated with the sport. Uh, and not yeah, not only did they invite me to play, but they actually insisted, and so I ended up playing with my buddy Trong Nguyen, and the help over there, Mr. Dennis and his staff was fantastic and made the whole experience quite enjoyable. It made me want to definitely go back and further my knowledge and experience in this sport of badminton. They were pretty amused by my curiosity, uh, because yeah, I was definitely showing an interest in their sport and something that they're passionate about, and so they were able to offer me a nice firsthand cultural perspective on their take and their experience and whatnot. And so a lot of my insight now comes from the participants there. The courts were very nice, as you can see here. There's a nice aerial view. Everything is really top of the line. There aren't too many officials, which we'll get more into detail in. In the competitive settings, there would be, but here typically they play more so by the honor code, and this honor code mentality. Again, it's displaying that it's a game of trust and not one to be filled with arguments and anger and jealousy or things of that nature. As we explore the origins of the sport, we see that a lot of times it was played recreationally, both men and women. So co-ed, it's primarily been open to all genders since its inception. The the attire differed. Obviously, with technology and with the advancements, there's more competitive attire. There, better equipment, better rackets, shuttlecocks. Everything is much better these days. But still, even today, you can commonly see the sport being played on a beach, in backyards, outdoors, indoors, anywhere really. The the basic objective of the game is to uh, use the racket and hit the shuttlecock across the net. The shuttlecock is the ball projectile uh, of the sport. Typically, it's comp- consisting of 16 feathers. If not, there's also plastic variations of it. But a very interesting thing about the shuttlecock is that uh, it can reach up to over 200 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest sports in the world. And so this is a projectile that has feathers in order to create a higher drag. And with speeds that high, you can see why the projectile has been created in such a way. Um, Originally, the game developed in British India from the earlier game of Battledore and Shuttlecock. Typically, in Europe, Denmark has been one of the more prominent and successful countries in the sport, but uh, there's there's certainly been an upsurge in Asia for the past uh, so many decades, dominated by Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. It's badminton has been an Olympic sport with 5 events. This includes the singles events, doubles, and the co-ed singles and doubles. It's quite a rigorous and demanding sport. As you can see here, it requires a lot of athleticism and flexibility, coordination, many qualities, many athletic qualities and performance qualities that we could impact as consultants. Here we see that women have played for many generations, and even even in cultures where sports perhaps are not so encouraged, they are still allowed to play and participate. So it's a sport that reaches all cultures, all genders, all races, and in this way, it's a very nice unifying sport. The the Badminton Association of England, back in 1893, launched the official rules of the sport. Though it had been deliberated previously in in a garrison town of Poon. So the game was actually initially known as Puna, Poona. So I would say that approximately the game originated around 1870s or so, uh, give or take a few years. I like this slide because it shows an example of the characteristics that are prioritized in badminton and in the Asian culture and in the European culture as well. And a lot of that is the trust and communication that teammates must have. You see, a lot of the teammates aren't looking at their teammate. They're having to rely on them and know that they will do the right thing. And in that split second, you are relying on each other so heavily that it's really a beautiful thing to observe. And though the level wasn't so great at the Milpitas Bay Center, it was still quality and it was still fast and action filled and exciting. So um, yeah, I could only imagine what watching an Olympic event could be like, and I look forward to tuning in this summer for the badminton participants in Brazil. The governing bodies, the Badminton World Federation, the logo is there up on the right, and then there is the Badminton Asia Confederation. There are five regional confederations that I won't go into, but these are two of the more prominent ones, and particularly the BAC, because we are focusing on the Asian culture and demographic. One thing I noticed, and Trung and his buddies and everyone there expanded on, is the conduct and the etiquette that is prevalent in the atmosphere, and that is that, yeah, players generally will be reserved in their behavior, in their celebration, in their frustration, and the fans in the crowd, though there weren't so many there, I also watched a few clips. The fans tend not to celebrate when an opponent makes a mistake, perhaps an unforced error, and they will instead tend to cheer when their team does well and when their players do well. And I found this to be an exceptionally admirable and virtuous approach, and it just makes it such a fantastic and uh, enjoyable event for all participants, in my opinion. Next, we have the court and some of the rules, which I won't go into detail, but essentially it's a best of three, first to 21 points, and the dimensions will differ based on if it is a singles event or a doubles event, similar to tennis. The equipment I found to be quite interesting, and although in Asia, everything is quite available because it's an inexpensive sport. It's If you are resourceful, which they are as a people, you can create nets and hang them up against trees. You can use fences, any sort of obstacle really, where you want to hit the birdie over. And so everyone can play. Everyone can obtain a racket, whether it's made with aluminum, carbon fiber, metal, any of these things. They are readily available in Asia, particularly Southeast Asia. The rackets are lightweight, tending to weigh roughly 2.5 to 3.5 ounces. The grip was an interesting thing. I've given particular attention to here. There's many different colors and a few different styles known as known as replacement grips and over grips. The replacement grips tend to be thicker and the over grips tend to be the finishing touch on the tape, but essentially players will wrap the handle to a thickness that is to their liking, and so this is a nice detail. In the picture you can also see the uh, the LED shuttlecocks, which is fun to play in the dark. I had never seen that, but yes, as the machine indicates, there's many technological advancements that create a very elite and high performance level sport here. Here we have some flexibility, creativity, and athleticism. Doing the splits is not uncommon, and sustaining injuries is also not uncommon because of the many players that I observed, many of them had in knee and ankle braces, indicating that it is a harsh sport. You are moving, a lot of agility, a lot of speed is required, and the rigors are different than tennis, but still very demanding, and the same sort of athleticism is definitely required. One muscle I thought would need a special particular attention is the calf and the Achilles because the way that they would leap and be so explosive to smash and hit the shuttlecock, it was exceptional. And then their landing, you know, from leaping up and landing at such rates, I could see how these muscles could require extra attention. I like that I was able to be exposed to the fact that it's for all ages, all genders. Uh, for those who are disabled, it's still very possible. If you are in a wheelchair, it's possible. Uh, for those who are growing older, all of us, I think this is a game that we can play well into our 60s, it seems, 70s even. And it's a good way to stay sharp and keep the muscles moving. And I might even, it seems like a club, a nice club that one might join because they seem like a very friendly people, and the environment was just brilliant. I could see myself retiring and trying to go and participate in these sort of clubs and just hang out with some of my buddies at the Milpitas Bay Badminton Center. Here we have a few different pictures of the resourcefulness I was talking about their the nets and fences that can be used, and these are prevalent throughout Southeast Asia and can be seen all over. So I hope to I hope to get another chance to play next time I go back. Though I thought I did rather well for myself this time. And yeah, let me see. Pretty much that would conclude my report on Southeast Asia and badminton. And yes, thank you. I hope to respond uh, eloquently to your questions. And please, if there's anything I was unclear about, just let me know, and I will expand further. And if I don't have the answers, then I shall research and get back to you. Thanks, guys.